All right. That was a football game. Joining me live, as you guys see on your screen to my left, my good friend Winnie Pooh, who's going to help me get through this rough time on this live stream. Oh man, where do I start? First of all, this podcast or this live stream is sponsored by BetOnline, and BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. If you think you know your stuff, you can get on their $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at a share of that $200,000 prize. When the game's over, head over to their online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or in one with over 150 slot games. Head over to the website today to get in on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here. Okay. I am going to lead off with the good stuff. I thought Kayvon had a very good game. I thought that both DNs were great against the run. The D tackles today, besides Dex, non-existent. I see the Daniel Jones comments already. Neighbors, I mean, there's not anything to say about that kid that hasn't been said. That kid's a fucking stud. The line, pass protection, very good. Handled Micah Parsons and Tank Lawrence pretty much all game. Micah had one pressure, as I said on the broadcast. DeMarcus Lawrence pretty much left the game early. He hurt his foot and was out after that, didn't come back in. The line in the run game was bad. Nothing downhill. They were getting no push. John Michael Schmitz lost at the snap pretty consistently today. In addition to a lot of guys in the screen game really not finishing blocks the way that we saw them finish last week. The Slayton drops were fucking brutal. The Slayton drops, granted, the deep shot in the second half of the game was hard to catch, but still that hit his hands. The kind of back shoulder fade miscommunication play, again, hard catch. That was still catchable. And
I don't think that's a hard catch. I think he should make that catch. Like that's a catch your guy needs to make. Like it's there, and the cornerback's not even making a play on the ball there. Like it's him. It's him. Like we'll talk plenty about how Daniel Jones is not good, but like that's not a Daniel Jones. Like, can Daniel Jones throw a better ball there? Sure, but to me, that's not like a Daniel Jones play. That is about Slayton. Slayton's got to make a better play there. That's a bad play on Slayton's part, and it's a huge play. I mean, that is a massive play because that would have given them what, 1st and 10 at like the 17 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Even then, I think there's some stuff you could point to with Dayball. Even though, in the macro sense of this game, I think Dayball called a B to B plus grade game. The two things I really disagreed with were not going for it, 4th and goal from the 3. That should have been a go for.
Yeah.
And then
that was 14-6, right? That was 14-6.
Yeah. I think that was the one before half.
Yep. Yeah. So that's 14. It was 14-9. They kicked the field goal to make it 14-12 or whatever it was.
It was no, it was.
Or yeah, whatever. Yeah, no, you're right. You were right the first. Yeah. Never mind. Sorry.
The runs on 2nd down far too often. There was some on 2nd and 2s. So like anything less than 2nd and 6 I can excuse. But there were some runs, man, I would have just the screen, you ran one screen all game. You ran it well against Cleveland. Two nice pickups. You ran one screen all game in this one. You got a 1st down out of it. I believe it was a 14-yard gain. To not go back to the well on that was weird. That was weird, and
it was especially weird because of how aggressive Dallas was. They were selling out the run the entire game. They were crashing down on the left end all game. All game they're crashing on it. They're giving it to you. They're basically like almost, I don't want to say they're not daring you to throw the screen, right? Like that's all you're doing. But
yeah,
it's almost like you got to make them pay for that. At some point, you got to make them pay, and they made them pay for it once. It was a weird thing. I don't know. That was. I guess they did do it twice. The second time was when Wandale dropped a pass, and it wouldn't have mattered. It got ruled as fumble, but like they didn't rule it as fumble, and it wouldn't have mattered anyway because they called the fucking ineligible man downfield.
I mean, that's the type of shit where in a game where I think Wandale was very good, making multiple guys miss, making some disadvantageous positions kind of work out for the Giants, multiple conversions on big downs. There's just still shit that isn't buttoned up and cleaned up about this team that matters in these games. And like you saw on the big money downs, Jalen Tolbert comes up with a big catch. Brandon Cooks comes up with a big catch to set up that first touchdown. Like, these are things that the Giants could have had swinging the game into their favor. Twice from Wandale, once from Slayton. The Singletary. There was a play where Singletary, and this is a total tangent now with Singletary. There was a play where he was patient at the line, patient, picked his hole. Nobody on the left side once he passed the D end, and somehow got hawked down for a 2-yard gain when the left side was essentially empty once he made his cut. That frustrated me. That was maybe his worst run of the season. He also had that dumb run where it turned a 2nd and 7 potentially into a 2nd and 14 when he went backwards. There's so much meat left on the bone in this game. And if some part of me wants to be a bit optimistic and say, we left meat on the bone in this game and it was still competitive while Daniel Jones was the quarterback. But I don't think that playing the game out like that is beneficial to this team and where they are. It's not beneficial to these players. Wandale just catching stick routes all game because Daniel isn't trusted to throw the ball downfield is not beneficial to who he is as a player. Neighbors, same thing, not beneficial to who he is. Everything is changed about how defenses play us because we're not willing to throw deep shots. And even beyond not willing to throw deep shots, Daniel's not good at them this year for whatever fucking reason. He massively overcorrected for the amount of times he's missed guys deep, and he had about 3 or 4 underthrows today. Tough shit, man. When I don't think the Cowboys were a better team than us today, in all honesty. I think there was one big play where Tyler Newman took a shit angle to the ball on CeeDee Lamb's long touchdown. And if that play doesn't happen and he just wraps up, who knows, how this game finishes. The Giants, I think, got 4 stops today. 4 stops on, I think, 9 drives, something along those lines.
Newman not only took a bad angle on that, he also just was like, his positioning on that entire play made no sense. He clearly fucked up the coverage there. There's no question about it. I think like it's worth mentioning this because it's a 5-point game, right? So it's 20-15 is the final score here. Yeah. Like it is worth mentioning the first drive the Giants have is a travesty, like in the sense of Bellinger gets called for a face mask, and I have no idea what that flag is because he gets face masked on him, and initially it actually even seemed like they were about to call the face mask on the Cowboys, and then they call it on the Giants, which made no sense. And then the next drive, so like the Giants end up kicking a field goal. The next drive the Cowboys get a holding call called on them, which was to me a pretty obvious holding call. Like everybody was expecting it. They threw a flag on the field. There were 2 flags actually thrown on the holding. Then they get together and they were like, actually, there's no holding here. I mean, that's a massive swing. That is at minimum, you're talking about let's say the Giants, you assume the Giants don't score a touchdown because why the fuck would you assume the Giants score a touchdown? Still 3 points. But that's, the Cowboys there are looking like 2nd and 25 at that point after the holding.
Yep.
That's a 4-point swing. I mean, that's a huge swing. It changes the entire kind of play calling in the game. Either way, after that point, the Giants have a lot of opportunities to make plays to win this game. And to your point, like I guess where I'd go with like the Singletary thing that you're mentioning, but like you kind of got to live with the bad with the good. The guy, could have been a 2nd and 7, goes 2nd and 14. He also makes a 4th and 1 happen out of his ass. Like that's a play it was dead in the water. It was done. Like Cowboys had it down. They had him dead to rights. He makes the guy miss. He makes another guy miss, and he makes it in like a 5-yard gain. I mean, that's a huge play, obviously. think the Giants get points out of that drive. That's huge. And look, I'll just say this: like, yeah, did Wandale leave plays in the field? Sure. Could Neighbors have caught that sideline catch that he got concussed on? Apparently, I really wonder if that's a concussion, because to me it was like, it looked like the ball just hit him in the fucking nuts and he like landed on it really hard. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Maybe, I mean, it must have been a concussion because they left him out of the game with concussion like symptoms. But yeah, could they have made those plays? Sure, they could have made those plays. When you're dialing down moments of that of a game to that stuff, to me that just speaks to your quarterback. Like, I'm sorry, I'm watching this game and I'm watching it on this, the fucking prime, whatever it's called, the next gen view or whatever, so you get the whole view of the field.
Yeah.
Jones's lack of any ability to manipulate the pocket, understand where pressure is coming from, whatever, it is so noticeable on that stuff. He's so bad. And I mean, there were so many plays that he just left on the field. Like there was a play, it was 3rd and 9. He hits Neighbors. But like, one, he hits Neighbors late. Neighbors the primary read. He's staring at him the whole fucking time. Hits him late. And then he doesn't even lead him on the play. So Neighbors has to like stop to get the ball and then try and turn. By that point, the linebacker's there to make the tackle. So it's over. Yep. And you see stuff like that all the time with Jones. And it's like, look, I'm not going to pretend. Whatever. Whatever. It's not pretending. The Giants didn't lose this game because of Daniel Jones. But I have a very hard time believing that there are not, like, I don't know, 20 quarterbacks in the league that win this game if they're not Daniel Jones. Like, he is not adding anything to this team. He is not adding a passing element. He's a mobile quarterback who somehow adds zero value in that capacity to the offense, like, because he has no idea how to utilize it. He is just a bad quarterback. And everybody else is going to pay the price in terms of, look, we can say here Wandale should catch that catch and it didn't even matter, right? Wandale didn't catch that one in the 4th quarter on that last drive or whatever. And what happened? They converted the next 4th down. He dropped the other one on the other play. It wouldn't have mattered if he caught it because they already had the flag thrown for that. Like, so much of this stuff is irrelevant until you have a quarterback that makes it relevant. And right now the Giants have a quarterback who makes the other misgivings, faults, flaws, mistakes on the team irrelevant because he's not good enough to make them relevant. And I got to say, like, whatever you want to say about this defense, they gave 20 points today. Like, they did their job as far as if I'm a Giants fan, I'm not looking at this game and being like, yeah, I'm sure there's stuff they can improve defensively because there's always stuff you can improve. But how do you look at this game and be like, man, the defense really no, the defense didn't let you down. Like, even the fucking touchdown you're talking about, right? The CD Lamb one, that's just an individual fuck up. That's not like a structural mistake on Bowen's part. I thought Bowen actually called a really good game today. I thought he mixed up his I think I will say this. One thing that bodes really, really well for Giants fans and for the Giants in general. Last week he dialed up 57% of the blitz, right? Because they knew he had a quarterback that did not play well against the blitz. Yeah. Today, at least the last time they had showed it, it was 18% because Dak is awesome against the blitz. So that bodes really well for him as a play caller and for the Giants as a whole. But look, again, none of this stuff fucking matters until you have a quarterback that even just makes it matter. And they don't have a quarterback that makes it matter. And I will also say, I thought Dable called a really way too conservative game until like the 4th quarter. And that to me is totally a function of him completely not trusting Dan Jones.
Yeah. On the CD touchdown, if you take that away, which, if you take away touchdown, whatever. But outside of that play, he has 6 catches for 40 yards. And that play should have been at most a 25-yard gain if Newbin takes any semblance of an angle to the ball. I thought Deonte Banks played a good response game after what happened with Amari Cooper, where he had 2 touchdowns and however many fucking yards he had. I thought Deonte was The highs were high again, and the low that we all saw turn into a touchdown was low. He also just doesn't hold the blame for that play solely. So that's
I would say he holds the least blame for that play. Like he played
sure.
basically his coverage. So if you want to give him the blame for the pass getting complete in the first place, I get it. But that play should basically go nowhere from there if
It
Newton
should be
is in his
dead. It
spot.
should be dead
Yeah.
right on the catch. Something has to be done about.
I'm
DJ
sorry,
Davis.
I'm just laughing.
What? DJ Davidson. You know what? DJ Davidson is making me whip out the fucking helmet. All right, I will suit up for DJ Davidson's place. I will stop the run. He cannot stop the run. I will stop the run. Okay, I will stop the run. I will stop the run. All right, I will stop the run. God damn it, man! You have a rookie center doubling decks with Zach Martin every fucking play, and your one job is to beat your man at least half the time, one-on-one. How do you not do that? Nacho, you're getting paid $4.5 million, I think. How do you not do that? I know Elijah Chapman is the pass rushing guy in the D tackle bunch. He needs to be playing more. He's the only guy right now on this D line, in the tackle room, I should say, that has knockback power with his hands. None of these guys are getting a push at the line besides Dex, and it's showing every single snap. They attacked him at the point. They attacked those two guys, Nacho and DJ Davidson, every single time, just absolutely pushing them back. We lost there. We were losing on the interior today with JMS. I thought the Giants did not get their interior line out enough at all. The screen game, they got out there. They put a hat on a hat. Big gain. The run to the outside where Singletary cut back and then ran again in a loop, and it resulted in a loss of yardage. He had that cutback for about a 4-yard gain. Do you know how rare a 4-yard gain was up the middle for us today? I think we had 3 of them up the middle on about 14 carries.
So this is my thing with that is like they were so sold out against the run in this game. The Cowboys were basically like, we know what everybody has watched the last 2 weeks. We know what has happened the last 2 weeks. We are just going to bring everybody down. We are crashing the house on every fucking run. And that is why, like you mentioned earlier in your first rant, the lack of screens, to me, like I don't get that. That's a weird, to me, that's like the I mean, it's not, it is the obvious like counter to a team that's selling out against a run, right? The obvious counter is, all right, let's run a screen, or like even like, hey, your tight end on that side leaks out, throw him out there real quick. Like it was a really, again, all this stuff to me just screams of a coach who wants to call stuff but won't call it because he does not trust his quarterback. Like this is the end game. Like we can sit here and talk about everything else, and we'll talk about everything else. If your coach doesn't trust your quarterback, this is the end result of this stuff. Like this is like, honestly, to me, watching this game, I watched Brian Daboll in Buffalo. Okay, his first year in Buffalo, this was Josh Allen's second year. This is before, like Josh Allen was not good his second year. He was better than his rookie year. He got better at the stuff. He was better, but he was not a good quarterback yet. He had some awesome plays. He had some ability to make plays out of the pocket that Daniel Jones could never fucking make because he's a moron and has no idea how to like do stuff. But he was not a good quarterback yet. But like he trusted him because he was like, but I know you can make those plays. I believe in you to make those plays. Even though I've seen you make stupid plays, I believe in you to make those plays. When I watch Brian Daboll right now, Ozempic Daboll, calling plays for Daniel Jones, I'm just like, he doesn't trust this guy. To me, it's really that simple. He does not trust him. And because he doesn't trust him, he will continue to call a conservative game plan that takes the game out of Daniel Jones's hands. He basically never allows Daniel Jones to make plays unless the situation absolutely dictates it, right? So if it's like 3rd and long, it's like, all right, I have to I have to let Daniel Jones make this. I have to let him try. But it can be like if it's 2nd and 7, other than some like play action deep pass or some shit, he's not doing anything with it. He is not calling a full game script with him. And I just don't I don't know what that says about Dable. I don't know what that says about, but to me it just speaks to like, hey, you can do so much as a coach. If you don't trust your quarterback, it is what it is. Like it doesn't really matter at that point. And we saw this with the Jets last year. Awesome defense, right? Great defense. You've got one of the best running backs in the league. Whatever. None of that shit fucking matters. You've got a great outside wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. None of that matters if your quarterback is ass. Like you can only be so good if your quarterback is ass. That's it. It's the fundamental reality of the league.
With regards to that, if Dable were to call the game the way he wants to call it, and the Giants are, going deep over the middle, going deep to the boundary, taking these shots, is it worth it for him to not coach the way that he wants to because of the quarterback? Or should he just say, this is what we want to run. When we run it, it is open. If you can't hit it, that is not my problem. We are going to put it on tape, and that's going to be the end of the story. Because right now what you're playing for is you're playing to finish 5-12, 4-13 with the way that we play. 6-11, right? Like doing
so,
these.
But this is what we don't know, right? This is what we don't know. We don't know what the internal expectations are. This is my point. Is like,
yeah,
like this is for any coach. This really doesn't matter, especially in the NFL. In the NBA, you might get this understanding of like, hey man, like we're just rebuilding, so wherever we finish, we finish. It doesn't matter. You don't get that leniency in the NFL. You don't. And even if there's an expectation in the NFL, like this Giants team, they could have come into the season being like, hey, we're not worried about wins and losses, but we just want to see a better product on the field. We want to see us have a better process, blah, 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 blah. End of the day, people can say whatever the fuck they want. We know what that means. Like a coach is going to coach for wins. They're going to, and they should. That's their job. Their job is to coach to win games. So if in his estimation, Daniel Jones is such a fucking liability that if I put the ball in this guy's hands, there's a better chance I lose the fucking game than win it. Then he's going to call the game the way he calls it. And I'm not, I don't know, like, I guess I am justifying what he's doing. I don't know how you evaluate a coach like that. Like you can't be like, hey, we brought in Brian Dable to be this quarterback guru, fucking, we're going to, rebuild the offense the way he did it in Buffalo, and then saddle him with a guy to you, like, honest question, Con, I'm asking you an honest question. Did you think by like week 5 last year that Dable was done with that Dable was done with Daniel Jones?
Even beyond my personal opinion, which at that time was like it was a pretty solid yes. That was before the ACL injury, which pretty much put the nail in the coffin. But I had also heard that he and Daboll got into a huge argument with the option routes that he had a great success with Josh Allen up in Buffalo, with Cole Beasley. So I heard that there was that kind of falling out between them, and that was a major rift because Daboll saw that as the way to kind of elevate DJ in his level of play. And when DJ gave pushback on that stuff, it was, I don't want to run this stuff because I don't trust my receivers, or, it's he didn't like taking that risk of throwing a route without knowing where his
based
guy
on the trust of their yeah. And Dable's response essentially was like, okay, so you either don't want to get better or you're fucking scared, and either way, that's not fucking rocking with me. So that's what I had heard. Right, but okay, so let's assume that's the case. So what happens? They come into the season, it's the same quarterback. He's dealing with the same limitations if that's his quarterback. Like I don't know. I don't know how to judge. To me, I'll put it this way. I watched this game, right? I watched these first, 4 Giants games. Neighbors is a stud. I watched Wandale. Yeah, he had a drop today. Like Stroh I'll bring this up. Stroh said, I mean, no blame on the wide receivers. Robinson's going to have the ball more in his hands. I mean, when given time, he'd find. Yeah, I get it. I get the devil's advocate point he's making. Sure, I totally get that point. I think Wandale made a fucking third down conversion out of his ass today. Like literally out of his ass. He fucking broke a tackle.
Two times maybe also. Maybe two or three times.
He made some plays today, right? Singletary makes a fourth down conversion out of his ass. I'm not saying Singletary is perfect, but Singletary is like an acceptable running back. He's not your ideal running back one, but he's the one you got. He's okay. Your offensive line is fine. They're not great. They're not perfect. They've got things they could get better at, but they're okay. Like Slayton is a good deep ball guy. We saw his limitations today. That drop was terrible. That's on him. I get all that. Your defense has played pretty well now through 4 weeks. Like, say whatever you want. They've played pretty well through 4 weeks. And at some point, like, yeah, you can try and talk about everything else that's out there. The offensive line, this wide receiver dropped this pass, this running back didn't make this cut, this offensive lineman didn't make this. Like, all this stuff gets magnified because your quarterback can't elevate above scheme or can't cover up this stuff ever. And it's just what it is. Like, I don't think there's really much to discuss until you have a quarterback that Daboll trusts. And if he doesn't trust this guy, then it is what it is. Like, I think you're looking at another 5-12, 6-11, 7-10, like on a good year. Like, that's what you're looking at. And that's what this team is until because I think there's really good stuff here. I like Neighbors is so obviously like a fucking stud, dude. He is so obviously a stud. He is out there just making plays. And Wandale is so obviously like one of the better slot guys in the league. Just like can get open against zone and whatever. And like, I'm not saying that makes him God, but it makes him a very functional receiver. And yet, with a variety of stuff that is better than last year, right? Better than last year. No quite. Well, I mean, you think unequivocally. I think all of us would agree. The offensive line is unequivocally better than last year.
Night and day.
There's no real tangible, significant improvement in terms of, yeah, you can move the ball better between the 20s, but do you do anything in the red zone? No. And that's about quarterback. Like to me, red zone play is about quarterback play. Red zone play is about quarterback play. Like Trevor Lawrence, I remember this. His first 2 years in the league, he was great getting 20-20. The big reason a lot of people, myself included, at the end of his second year thought that he was making a leap was his red zone play improved. Obviously, that has not come to fruition.
Yeah.
You can work your way into field goal range pretty easily in the modern NFL. That's not like a high bar. Touchdowns are a matter. And if you can't get touchdowns, generally speaking, it is about quarterback play.
I think that is true. And I want to go back to the point about the defense. The defense in their last 3 games is holding teams to an average of 18 points a game. We're 1-2. And the one win was by the skin of our fucking chinny chin chin against the Browns.
And I will mention, and I think this is worth mentioning. You didn't mention the first game. That was the Vikings. That was a 28-point game that you guys gave up. One of those touchdowns was not on the defense. That was straight up a pick six.
That was a pick six, correct.
They basically gave up 20 points in that game.
And then the Vikings went
to
San Francisco, lit up San Francisco, and then who did they play last week? I forgot. But
they lit them up.
They lit up Houston. So in hindsight, 21 points to Minnesota.
Yeah, it's not bad. And then I want to mention this because you mentioned the Cleveland game. Yeah, you gave 15 points that game. Where did the first points come from? Immediate first down, like first possession turnover. Boom, boom. They get a short field. They get a 27-yard touchdown pass, or whatever the hell it was. Like the defense they're holding up, man. Like, yeah, they've got shit they got to work on too. Deontay Banks is not a cornerback 1 maybe, and the cornerback 2 spot is whatever, and Cordell, whatever. You can sit there and talk about that shit all day. They're not they're not like hemorrhaging points here. This isn't the Commanders defense. This isn't the fucking Bengals defense. This isn't, one of these defenses that's just bottom end of the league.
Yeah.
And I will say this. I said this in our Discord chat during the game. I thought Shane Bowen called a really good game today. I thought he did a really good job tonight as a coordinator.
On a totally different note, and my mind just gone here a couple times, and I've forgotten to bring it up because I get lost on these fucking tangents. I had so many points in the game tonight where my thought was Theo Johnson's cool, good prospect. I'm still excited to see how his career plays out here. I wish Darren Waller gave us one more year, man. I wish Darren Waller gave us one more year to just see how things look with him and Malik Neighbors. Because honest to God, I think this offense, even with Daniel Jones operating it and for, whatever flaws he may have, this offense would be top 14, maybe, because they put up, 15 points today, 21 against the Browns, 20 against the Commanders, something like that, and then they had the dud against the Vikings. Darren Waller is the solution to so much of these red zone problems that I think we're having right now. And it's not because, he's a big target and, he can go up against the ball and whatnot. There's plays in the Giants playbook where we're running those level concepts to the one half of the field, and we're having the short, intermediate, and deep read. It is different when Darren Waller is running those routes versus Theo Johnson. And it's just a thought that creeps into my mind.
It puts guys into conflict. He's a guy that he puts defenders into conflict, yeah.
And even in other scenarios, we had Malik Neighbors on the left side tonight with Theo Johnson on the right side, at the line of scrimmage off of the tackle. Essentially, I would say maybe about 40% of the time, which was our most common formation. The balance of the defense is so different if you have Darren Waller on that side. And I'm crying over spilled milk, but I just feel like we were robbed of this as a fan base. Seeing what Dable can work with both of those guys, with Wan'Dale Robinson, with whoever your second boundary guy is between Hyatt and Slayton, which I hope to get to at some point in this also, because that situation is a little frustrating. I just think that, man, it saved $7 million against the cap. I would so easily give $7 million right now to have Darren Waller and see where things go with this team. So easily.
All right, so who are you giving your game ball to? Offense and defense.
My game ball on offense. You know what? Can you fill time for a second? I will grab a ball to bring, and I will hand it out.
All right, yeah, I'll fill time. All right, let's see if there are any comments here to get to. Let's see. It's from Hawkeye for I saw someone on Twitter talk about the margin for error with these bum-ass quarterbacks is slim. There's no legitimate ceiling with him. It probably hurts Dable's play calling more than we think. Yeah, I think that's 100% true. He doesn't trust him. That obviously hurts your play calling. It obviously hurts a lot of things. There's no question about it. Yeah, and Hawkeye 420 says last drop by Slayton is definitely on him. DJ made an average deep throw for once. I completely agree with this. Like in real time, when I first saw the play, I was like, what a terrible throw by Daniel Jones. When they showed the replay, I was like, nope, that's on Slayton. That was on Slayton. Yeah. Slayton's got to make that catch. I'm sorry, that hits him in the fucking numbers. Yeah, he's got to dive back for it. You're an NFL receiver. Catch the ball, dude. I'm sorry. There's the defensive back isn't even making a play on it. You just got to make the catch. It's the first down. There's no excuse for that. And honestly, if you want to do the Slayton Hyatt thing, you can do it right now. Because to me, when that play happens, the entire kind of argument, right, of why is Slayton getting more snaps than Hyatt should be a play like that. Slayton should make that. If Slayton makes that play, then we understand why Hyatt isn't getting snaps. That's it. But he didn't make the fucking play, and he didn't make a lot of plays tonight. And at that point, it's maybe trust the guy. You drafted high in the second round last year. If he's that bad, third round. There's only two acceptable scenarios here. Either Hyatt, you've soured on him so much because he's just been so bad from whatever you guys have seen that you can't trust him, and Slayton is better. So that to me means like just trade Hyatt for whatever you can get right now, or like we do this. We've talked about this with Tibbs before, right? Where we're like, dude, we need to get rid of Derrick Rose so that he plays quickly more. Okay, if you're the front office, you love Hyatt. Okay, fine. Just trade.
Go out and get a sixth-round pick. Go out and get a sixth-round pick.
Something. Just get whatever you can and move on, and force him into a situation where he has to play Hyatt. That's it. It's that simple to me. To me, this is not a tenable situation. You can't draft a guy on day 2, and he's basically doing nothing in year 2 in games like this. This is ridiculous.
So, game balls on offense. These are tentative because this is strictly from watching on the fucking Al Michaels broadcast. They made me want to put a fucking bullet in my forehead with how bad he is on the mic.
Al Michaels legitimately has no idea what's going on. He has no idea what's going on right now.
There was a play on the Slayton deep pass where Slayton
did he catch it?
slides to like attempt to catch, and the ball like is rolling on the ground. Did he come up with the catch? Fucking, are you watching the game? Are you watching the fucking game? Jesus, man. Regardless, I really liked what I saw out of Jermaine Illuminor again today. Illegal man downfield penalty was a killer, but Wan'Dale dropped the ball anyway. I thought
also that illegal man, like that's a penalty. They call that sometimes. They just don't call it. Like it's like one of those like sometimes they call it, sometimes they don't. I don't really. I won't kill him for that shit.
Hawkeye for 20. You're damn right. Like hit the like button for that rant. You're goddamn right. Jermaine Illuminor, you are getting a game ball for fucking finally handling Tank Lawrence for the New York Football Giants. We have been in the deepest depths of fucking hell because of that guy. He's had so many games where he just lights us up, multiple sacks, multiple drives just completely shut down by him. And not only, obviously he left the game early today with the injury, but when he was in the game, he was pretty much shut down. So game ball to you. And I hate not giving this to two other guys in Wan'Dale and Neighbors, but against this Dallas secondary, I expected them to feast. I expected them to get theirs. And there will be other games where they get their game ball. I was so close to giving this to the O-tackle pairing in general because Andrew Thomas in pass pro scenarios had Micah Parsons and Alcatraz today, just absolutely locked up in jail. He got beat on, coincidentally, what Hawkeye just said in the comments, that one run play late in the fourth quarter where he hit him with the little inside out move. Became like a 4 or 5 yard loss for Singletary. That was brutal. Negative runs with that and with the play where Singletary tried to loop back around. So can't give it to Andrew Thomas for that, but Illuminor gets one. And then on defense, I'm gonna give this game ball. I think people are gonna hear who I give this to, and initially they are gonna be like, "What?" Guess? Go. It's two people.
Burns.
Nope.
Wow. Okay. Can I get two? I'll get one more guess. One more guess isn't good. Pinnock?
No.
All right.
This game ball is going to the likes of Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden.
There we go.
I thought those two guys did great getting downhill in the run game. They mucked up.
You didn't get burned. You didn't get burned over the middle.
Didn't get burned over the middle. And the reason why I said it might be surprising is because Jake Ferguson had 749. Jake Ferguson, every single catch was schemed. That's number one. Number two,
and they were outside the hashes.
Yes. Number two, none of them were in big spots. He had two catches, I believe, that were 10-yard plays on first down that were in Dallas territory. I'm so far from caring about those. And in the big spots, if you take those out, he has 5 for 29, 6 yards a catch. That is nothing. That is below replacement level tight end play. So I want to shout out those two guys. I thought they did a huge job helping the D tackles as best as they could because they were getting flattened like fucking pancakes all night to stop the interior run game and help in coverage. So, hats off to those guys. The one play from them that stings is the touchdown to Rico Dowdle on the screen. But again, that should have been a holding. So,
Yeah, I can't. I honestly like that play when they showed on the replay too. I was like, "What the fuck?" That's like
I haven't seen that flag get picked up, and I'm still a young kid, whatever. But like, I haven't seen that flag get picked up. Young lad, young chap, nice young chap. But I haven't seen that flag get picked up in pretty much any game I've ever watched. If that flag comes out, it's just like, yeah, dude, like we got you, like red-handed, we fucking got you.
It wasn't so. It wasn't just one flag that came out. 2 guys flagged that.
It was 2 refs who threw it.
Yeah,
2 refs, and it wasn't just an isolated incident. It was on two different players for each ref because they came out from different angles and they picked up both.
Yep.
Just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I'm gonna give my game balls here.
Here, I'll pass it to you. And you give it out.
Pass it to me. One, I'm gonna have to tie this one. This is to Neighbors and Wandale. Wandale for getting his over in receptions in the first like fucking 15 minutes of the game.
I
shout out to him. And shout out to Neighbors for continuing to hit the over on his yards, 76.5. Let's get it. Awesome job by him. And no, like honestly, if I was giving an offensive game ball too, it'd be tough. But I think you just give it to Neighbors. Like again, like what you're seeing from this kid is special, man. Like this is a rookie, and he's taking on the responsibility right now of effectively carrying an offense. Yeah, he's carrying the offense. He is the offense. Without him, we saw it. We saw what it looked like when he was off the field on that last, 40-second drive, whatever. Did you have any honest question? When you knew he was off the field for that last 40 seconds when you got the ball back, did you have any expectation that you had any chance to get that touchdown?
Yeah, I'll tell you what my expectations were. I was watching the game with 2 of my friends, or my one friend, I'm sorry. And when they got the ball back, we said, friends, yeah, my imaginary friends. We essentially just kind of like shut up and started, and he kind of started packing his shit. Like, there was nothing going on in that play. And
I'll say this, like I just.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
In that situation, Dallas is giving you everything in front of you. Maybe I'm just the guy who loves running fucking screenplays, but I feel like that is a time for a screenplay.
Yeah.
Leak out, get a convoy going, maybe eat up 20 yards in fucking 6-7 seconds and see what you can work with. Fuck, man. It fucking hurts because this game was right there for us, man, and I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah. So I look, I think it's really hard to like appreciate this stuff in real time, especially when you're so frustrated. Like, look, the Commanders' loss feels very frustrating. Obviously, Neighbors has that one to me. That's a legit drop. That's on him. Again, at the end of the day, I'm like, you're not in the game without Neighbors. You're not even in the fucking conversation without Neighbors in that game. Today, fine. If you want to put that on Neighbors, you can. That's a weird one to put on for him, but whatever. But like what he is doing right now is making Daniel Jones bullshit look acceptable. He's making Daniel Jones look like an acceptable NFL quarterback. And because he's so good, he's elevating the guys around him. He's elevating the play around him, and that matters a lot. He's deserves the game ball basically every week for the Giants until somebody else steps up and has a more productive game. Defensively, I would just consistently I'll just consistently give this to Dexter Lawrence. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you look at the attention that's paid to him at every fucking possession, it's ridiculous. This guy's a monster. He's getting double teamed every fucking time he's on the field. I thought he again had a fantastic game. And I thought, like you mentioned before, any of these runs that are happening up the middle, it's not because of Dexter Lawrence. It's because the guy next to him cannot fucking make a play, cannot fill the gap. I thought Dexter Lawrence was fantastic today. Honestly, I think you could have given it to any of those guys. I thought Kayvon had a really good game today. I thought he had a really good game today. There was a fourth down play where he didn't quite make the tackle, but like if he, that was not real to me though. Like he made a really good play there. Like he actually like if he doesn't hit the running back's leg there, that's a fucking like 20-yard gain, maybe even more. I thought Kayvon had a really good game, and I've been really critical of him. I came on, I think after the first week when I came on with you guys, we really killed him, and I thought he was really good tonight. Honestly, I can't say anything more than that. Also, he had the funniest. He also had the funniest play of the game today, where he jumps off sides, but then he doesn't like immediately run to the quarterback, so they snap it. So then he's like past offensive tackle. So offensive tackle has to hold him. So they get like an offsetting thing. It's a pretty amazing play. I've never seen that before. It was awesome. No, but I genuinely thought he had a really good game, and I thought he had a good game as a pass rusher, and I thought he had a good game. I thought he had a good game against the run, which is that's a really big thing.
You're right. Through a 4-game sample size, I just want to acknowledge this because it's kind of fucking ludicrous.
Is it that Dexter Lawrence is the best defensive tackle in football? Is that what you wanted to acknowledge?
I mean, that's common knowledge to anybody who knows the game, but
to real ball knowers.
The real ball knowers who appreciate the trenches and all that stuff. The rookie record for receiving yards in a season was set last year by Puka Nacua, 1,486. Malik Neighbors right now through 4 games is on pace to fucking smash that by about 180 yards.
Also, fun fact, Puka Nacua, I think, had like 180 targets last year, which was the record for a rookie, at least as long as they've been tracking targets.
Yeah.
Coming into today's game, Neighbors was on track for 210 targets. I don't know how many targets he had tonight.
Went up after today.
Yeah, he is like it is not. I'm sorry, like you can believe in Dan Jones as much as you want. If a guy is just like, that's all I'm just targeting my best guy, like it's not really like high level quarterback play. This is like stuff that anybody could do. It's a fact. I'm sorry.
So he is at 52 targets through 4 games. And that is a pace for 221, which, I mean, 221 sounds like the amount of fucking carries on a season for a running back. That's crazy. That is.
Can we talk about this? I'm actually like a little worried about this, not because I don't think it. I think targets are different than carries, so I'm not worried about his workload in terms of like, oh my god, he's getting so many targets.
Yeah.
I think Dan Jones is gonna get this guy killed, man. Like that, he had a throw to him. Unlike, I don't remember what the hell it was. It was like a short yardage play where he threw it to him on the. It was a dead play. I remember this is what it was. It's a dead play. It's like he rolls out, and the first read is the read is supposed to be, okay, we're rolling out, we're trying to get misdirection going, and then you just feed Neighbors here, and he runs, he catches it at the line of scrimmage and goes, and it's like, Dan Jones runs he does the run fake, turns around the corner. There's a guy that's right behind Neighbors, right behind him. That play's going nowhere. Any good quarterback there in that situation turfs that play. Turfs it. Just throws it on the grass.
Or they pump fake it, get the guy to keep, to commit to the route that's being run, and then they kind of undercut it and run it for maybe a 2-3 yard pickup, something like that.
Whatever it is. He threw it to him there, and he got fucking rocked on that play. And like shit like that, to me, that is how a guy stops playing for his quarterback. He stops playing for his team. Because if I'm Neighbors on that play, I'm like, you didn't see that? You didn't see that.
You're talking
you made me
about
catch that ball.
You're talking about the play where Neighbors kind of got a helmet to his knee?
Yes.
Yes, I remember that play. That was
It's
a loss of 1. Yeah, I remember that play.
Yeah, it was a loss. Yeah, it was a loss. It was like, dude, there's no value to that play. As a quarterback, you have to understand that. And we're not talking about a rookie, right? If it's a rookie quarterback, you can kind of understand, all right, whatever. Daniel Jones, this is year 6, buddy.
3rd year in
You
this
got to
game.
he's
ran that concept 3 years in a row.
Protect your receivers. And then he had the one I talked about earlier, the China route, where fucking Neighbors is coming out of the backfield, and it's like he hits him in stride. It's a first down. Instead, he throws it to his body, so he has to stop, catch it, and then try and turn. And by that point, the advantage is over. So it's a 3-yard gain. And it's like, you see stuff like this all the time with him, and it's like, yeah, man, you can sit there and tell me Wandale dropped a pass or Neighbor dropped this pass, but how many times does that guy leave yards on the field that they are creating for him? This is not, I'm sorry, this is no longer a team that is devoid of skill talent, that is devoid of any offensive line protection semblance at all, or a team, quite frankly, that is like asking him to put up 35 points on the board. They didn't. At what point in this game, he was the maximum deficit he faced in this game was 8 points. So 1 possession game, effectively.
Yeah,
so 1 possession game.
That is literally a 1 possession game. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. Like, at some point, your quarterback has to be the difference in a game. And if he can never be the difference in a game, then he isn't good enough for what you need. It is like, I don't know. Like, I still see like these Giants fans all the times on Twitter that are like, oh, well, if this guy did that and that guy did that thing. And it's like, okay, but what if Daniel Jones just did his fucking job, dude? What if he just did his fucking job? Is that possible? Are we allowed to do that? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe I always come at this with like my like Josh Allen viewpoint of like, hey man, I saw Josh Allen got shit on a lot his second year in the league when his outside receivers were literally this. Okay, John Brown, a midget, and Cole Beasley. No. He never had Chris Hogan. So his outside receivers were John Brown, 1,000 yard receiver with Josh Allen. Cole Beasley, 1,000 yard receiver, Josh Allen. I never am interested in hearing about this guy who is supposed to be a franchise quarterback can't make it happen because of XYZ. If he's a franchise quarterback, he's going to give you a baseline of production. And then at that point, then you can start talking to me about the surrounding talent doesn't fit in. Daniel Jones hasn't fucking hit that ever. He's never hit that under Dable. And that immediately, it's just a huge red flag. Huge red flag.
Yeah, as we were talking, I was thinking to myself, in this game, what are the areas that I could point to outside of quarterback where the Giants are either lacking currently or will lack this offseason because of expiring contracts? A running mate with Deonte Banks was one. Whatever cornerback spot you want to call, 1 or 2. Right guard is going to be something you have to address because of Gregor Van Roten being a free agent. RBs, I think we have a solution there with Tracy, who looked good today on multiple occasions, and Singletary. Interior D-line is the big one besides cornerback. Hawkeye, I see your comment right here about Will Johnson, who is Schwinn's, his favorite player.
Can I just say, did you see the pick six? Did you see he had the pick six he had last week against USC?
Yeah, he literally broke on that ball before the receiver did.
He baited that play. He baited that. If you listen to when we played Texas week 2, right? They ran a lot of they ran the exact same concept on the they never ran it on Will. They never ran it on. They always ran on the opposite side of the field, but they never ran. So they basically were like they would run like a guy going deep, and then they run a guy running to like the flat over there, right where the space is vacated. They ran that so many times, and they basically were like chomping us up for first downs at Will. If you watch that play again, Will is totally like he's selling that he's going to drop. He's going to drop. He's going to drop. He's going to drop. And when what's his name? Fucking Moss. What's his name? Miller Moss. Yeah, can't believe that guy's white. By the way, incredible story.
Dude, can we talk about Chris Manhurts and what you said to him?
No, we'll do that later.
Okay.
So Miller Moss, this guy, he sees it, right? It's the same read. He's like, oh yeah, he's gonna drop deep. That's their coverage. He baited him the entire way. As soon as he goes into his drop and he's about to let it go, you see Will Johnson just fucking bear down on that. And I remember watching in real time. As soon as he let it go, I was like, "That's 6, baby!" Like I was like, in my head, I was like, that shit is done, man. That shit is done. But he's. I think he's a really special cornerback. I will also say I'm probably a little bit less. I don't view him as like Darrelle Revis. Like I don't think he's like, yep, you just put him on the number one guy and they're never going to catch the ball. Like I don't know he's that, but he's a playmaker and he's definitely a number one cornerback. You know, Darrelle Revis is a high fucking bar, right? Like it's okay if you're not Darrelle Revis. You can still be a really great number one cornerback. Yeah. But yeah, I think Will Jones would do a lot for your guys' defense, especially if look, I'll be honest with you. I told you this after the Browns game, Con. I messaged you after this and we disagreed on this. Like I thought Banks played a good game. Cooper's just really good.
No, I agreed with that.
Yeah. At the time you didn't, then you were revising. You were like, no, you're right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I got in the film room. That's what happened.
Yeah, you are.
More people should be in the film room.
But I think Banks is fine. I think he's like a good player, man. Like, yeah, maybe he's not a number one cornerback. That's okay. That's okay. Like you drafted him at the end of the first round. You didn't draft him number 5 overall or something. If you're a really good number 2 at the end of the first round, that's fine. That's completely okay.
Yeah. Some comments. I wanted to say what's up to this guy because he so politely said what's up to us. Shout out Daniel Berry. What's up, bro? Shane says half a decade of my life watching Daniel Jones. Bro, when I saw this comment in the stream, I just did the math in my head and I was like, 23, it's been 6 years. Fucking quarter of my life, bro, has been of our life has been Daniel Jones.
You graduated college and you're on to a postgraduate degree now.
Bro, I literally finished high school, finished college, and who knows, by the time they actually get him off the roster, I might have gotten my fucking doctorate. Like, it might span that long. Jesus, man. God damn it. And I have a professor who hates Daniel Jones, and like just to play devil's advocate, I fuck around and I'm like, dude, he's so throwing for 400 yards tonight.
You also said that in our Discord today.
I did actually say that, but there was
shout out. Yeah, shout out to MJ Panner in our Discord. That was like, he was like
400 confused faces. You mean like?
Yeah, like is that what you meant? And 4 interceptions? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So we talked CB1, right guard. We said running backs. I think we're solid there. You need the IDL depth, and that's stuff that is, you know, you could find a good guy in the 4th round over there.
Running back is just like, it's just a position where it's like that should be the cherry on top. That's never like the priority thing. Mm-hmm. And you can usually find like a pretty decent RB1 even in like round 2 or 3. Like, it's generally just the case. Like James Cook.
I really wish I could hate on you right now, but you're not being mean to me, so it's okay. They need as good as Wan'Dale was. I think when I was reminiscing about Darren Waller, the need for a wide receiver 2 felt, you know, I guess more prominent than I thought it would be coming into the season. Just because there's limitations to Wan'Dale, and not in terms of the routes he can run, but he lowers or he raises how good your quarterback has to be in order for him to be effective because his arms are short because he is a small guy. And not happening with Daniel Jones. Not happening.
But it's like, again, this always just comes back to Daniel Jones where it's like, okay, if you had, like, honestly, I forget, like, if you had, I don't know, if you had Baker Mayfield as your quarterback right now, you would get more production of all of your wide receivers. You would 100%. I guarantee you get more production out of your wide receivers right now.
I mean,
and I don't think,
oh, you cut out a little bit, unless it's just me. Let me see this real quick. I don't know if Schwinn is on here or not. Schwinn, no, Schwinn is Schwinn. Damn, Schwinn, that's tough. I actually can't tell if Schwinn is here or not. But I'm gonna assume he's not, and I'm just gonna talk. So Malik Neighbors with Baker Mayfield, to his point, is probably looking at Giants are so ash they broke his shit. yeah, that definitely is what just happened. With Malik Neighbors having Baker Mayfield, probably is like pacing for 1,800 yards or something of that nature, somewhere around there. I personally was about to look at D-line free agents while Schwinn was, taking his break virtually, because I just wanted to see what might be out there for us in this upcoming free agent class. Hold up. Sorry. I meant for Schwinn to be talking during this. Sorry, everybody. 2025. Let's see what we got here. Javon Kinlaw, Jets legend, is going to be on here. Not great. Okay, we might have to draft this fucking guy then. Osa Digizua, no thanks. Milton Williams from the Eagles, potentially. That might be a name to keep an eye on. No names really jumping out though right now. So, oh well. Am I frozen now? Am I good? I think I'm fine. Let's see. Maybe. Schwinn's back. Schwinn is back. You okay, bud?
I'm okay.
All right.
How are you set?
Awesome. From Hawkeye, do we even have the money to keep adding talent with how much dead cap we will owe to DJ if we buy him out, or we would be cutting him more than buying him out? But I will pull up our salary cap just to give you this answer.
I mean, it doesn't actually even matter. Like, you just have to do it. Like, this is what you have to do, right? This is the NFL. If you're not good enough, at some point, you're done. You're done. It's over. Like, no fucking first-round quarterback has gotten the leash Deion Jones has gotten since he's been drafted. You can look at all of them. Look at all of them. All the ones that flamed out. None of them have gotten the leash he's gotten. He has gotten not just a leash, he's gotten fucking paid. He's gotten fucking paid. It is bad. This is bad. At some point, as management, you got to be like, hey, if we have to eat, what, you're going to eat like a $20 million dead cap hit if you waive him next year?
We will eat 22.
Yeah, you eat it. It's fine. You know how many? You know how much dead cap the Bills are eating this year? $65 million. You know how much dead cap? You know how much? You know how much dead cap? Yeah. You know how much dead cap not just because of Diggs, but you know how much dead cap the Packers are eating this year? $51 million after they ate $65 million last year.
On Rodgers?
You can eat dead cap and be a good team, and sometimes you have to eat dead cap to be a good team. That is part of the process. It's part of it. It's literally what the league is, man. And you can always find a reason to not cut a guy. Oh, well, we can't. Yeah. It'd been really easy for us to be like, well, you know what? Got to keep Diggs because got to do, it doesn't make any sense for us to waive him. What's actually good for the team? What's good for the team? Is it good for the team to stick with Deion Jones again beyond this year? What is he showing you? You're basically a quarter of the way through the season. Has he shown you a fucking thing that you're like, man, this is, you know what? We got to deal. Like, we couldn't get this anywhere else. You can get this stuff. You can get this stuff. You can look around the league. All right, look around the league. Sam Darnold signed as a free agent. Baker Mayfield signed as a free agent, now extended with Tampa. Justin Fields, he is 3-0 right now, and he's playing the best ball of his life under the great Arthur Smith, noted offensive guru who totally maximizes his best weapons. Arthur Smith, he's playing the best ball of his life. 3-0. Like, that's 3 examples right there of guys that have flamed out somewhere else and gone on and had the best ball of their careers elsewhere. Stop worrying about the dead cap stuff. Like, just fucking do it and move on. Just do it and move on. He is not good enough. You have 6 years of evidence to show you that he's not good enough. Under multiple offensive coordinators, multiple head coaches, revolving skill talent. I mean, look, if he's not good enough this year with Neighbors and all these other guys, like, he's just not good enough. That's it. Like, it's just not that complicated.
You're right. So I'm not even gonna like fucking build off of it. But to what Hawkeye said, right now we're scheduled for $45 million in cap space. Cutting Daniel gets us up to 64. Cutting Nacho saves us 3.5. And then what was this other $3 million? There's another player that we could cut for $3 million in savings, which was Graham Gano. That's who it was. So you
guys might have found a kicker. You might have already found a kicker, by the way. Congrats.
I really hope so. Because he'll probably take a minimum salary. So
dude, that 50, he had a 52 or 53 yard.
Something.
Yeah, I mean that shit was good from like 65. I mean that was
he kicked with the Vikings for a pretty decently long time. So I wasn't like oh, who the fuck is Greg Joseph? Like I know who Greg Joseph was beforehand. So but there is a legitimate way where the Giants go into this offseason upwards of $70 million because there's a clear route here to $70 million without moving money around and restructures and whatnot. So just saying there is like we've talked about all these different players, in isolation today on the stream that you should have optimism for who had good showings today. And you're going to be subtracting our biggest negative at the quarterback position. Influx, getting an influx of talent, whatever 70 million can get you out there on the market. And then you're going to have a draft where you're going to have all your picks, and one of them, instead of being a 7th, is going to be a 6th because of that trade with Dallas, which, by the way, Jordan Phillips is on the IR. Yeah, he already met his snap requirement for that trade to kind of, for that swap to invoke its rights or whatever the fuck the phrase is. And he's probably not going to play another down for them all season. So Joe Shane just essentially got a free 15 spots of draft, draft equity, whatever.
Yeah. What do you think? This is from Shane. Banks needs to get his head around, look for the ball. He does a good job of this in the short passing game, but he struggles with medium, deeper concepts. He's sticky, but teams take advantage of that. I think Banks is really close, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like I watched him now for like what most of I would say the better part of like 3 games of the 4 this year.
Yeah.
He's there most of the time. I kind of agree with this. I don't know how you feel about that.
I think so. Coincidentally, the guy who I was watching the game with was actually a DB. So I don't have many DB friends because my friends.
Why would you? They're liberals, and you're a real American as a lineman.
My friends are true flag bearers. So he made a good point to me, and he was talking about how he's not getting his head around, but when he is getting his head around, he is stabbing at the ball from a wide angle. So what he's talking about is when the ball's coming into a receiver, he's wrapping around their body and trying to knock the ball loose when he should be going straight with his arm.
Under like the arm.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And so like what that's doing is if the ball is coming into me, somebody is trying to knock it out from wide instead of just going straight and getting their hand in the path, which is a fraction of a second, 0.2 of a second maybe. But
that's the margin. That's the margin in the NFL.
That's how you play in the NFL, right? So the terminology that he put it to me with is instead of wrapping, he has to stab with his arm. And I would just like to see that. So I do think Banks is extremely close.
I know a coach that could get him right.
Yeah. Well, we're not trading him to Buffalo.
Well, maybe you should. We'll give
No,
you Kyrie alone. We'll be fine.
it's a great trade. I do. My ultimate hope though is for him to be our cornerback too, because if you get to a point where he is your cornerback too, and you have a higher, obviously a higher level player at cornerback one, you're looking at a center back. Oh, center back. Jesus Lord, I'm thinking of United. You're looking at a cornerback
I
room
want to talk
of
about that.
no, we don't talk about them. You're looking at hypothetically, I'll throw Will Johnson in there, and then Deontay and Drew Phillips, and then your safety room is going to be Nubin and Pinnock. Like, dude, that's 5 fucking solid guys, and all of them, besides Pinnock, who's probably going to get around $4 to $5 million a year, they're all locked up for 3+ seasons. So that's great. And I would call this trade into the league office. I think
Yeah.
Sean would call this trade into the league
This
office. So.
I honestly, I think Josh Allen, he turns the ball over too much. So,
So Daniel Jones, clean game today.
dude. Okay, can we talk about this for a second? Kirk Herbstreit today was embarrassing on this fucking broadcast. This guy was gassing up the Daniel Jones performance like this was like peak Patrick Mahomes or something. He was like, he's 24, he's 20 or 23. He can't say anything about his performance. Like, really? You can't say anything about his performance today just because he's completing a high percentage of his passes? Like, bro, what are we doing here? Like, give me some real analysis. But this is what happens when the great Zach Lowe gets sacked from ESPN, I guess. No, like it's ridiculous.
Wait, before I just want to jump in. I fucking guarantee you that Kirk Herbstreit watched the fucking Bengals Commanders game and was like, "Holy shit, Jaden Daniels fucking great game completing 90% of his passes," and then saw this game, saw the same thing for Daniel Jones, and it was just like, great game, fucking completed 90% of his passes. And not once did it probably cross his mind that Jaden Daniels took like 9 deep shots and connected on, I think, like 7 of them. And one in the biggest moment to win the fucking game, too. So, dude, this was so bad. This was so bad. Look what happened. And you know what? On this fucking play when he said it, and I remember it because it ticked me off so much. On this fucking play when he said this, Malik Neighbors had to jump for a ball over the middle of the field and leave his ribs exposed and then got fucking cracked on this play where he said this exact thing.
And what he said was, look what happens when you give this guy an offensive line and some weapons.
Yeah, he could fucking put you in fucking harm's way. That's what he can do. Congratulations.
Average Buckeye IQ there from Kirk Herbstreit. So can't blame him. Can't blame him for going to JD Vance's alma mater.
I'm so like, and God bless his. Actually, I'm not gonna say God bless his soul. But I was watching a John Gruden video before this game, and he was like talking about how Daniel Jones has mental fortitude and all this other shit. And he was like, I like Daniel Jones because of what he's been through. And I was like, I would like Daniel Jones too if he could fucking throw a football. Like,
what has Daniel Jones been like? What has he actually been through? All right,
Daniel Jones has walked through the fire of his own fucking consequences of being shit. That's what it is.
And he got paid a lot of money for it. So I don't know what he's really been through. He's just been through like stuff like that everybody goes through in their lives and got paid $100 million basically for a guarantee. He's made $100 million plus in his career. It's a real, like, he's already made $100 million in his career. I would, to go back to the kicker thing, like, I don't know what the hell the kicker thing was in week 2. That was bizarre. I don't know why the fuck Daboll handled it the way he did. But this guy you guys found, Greg Joseph, looks okay. He looks completely fine. That's a good sign. And Gillen continues to be an impressive punter to me. I think he's a good punter. I think you guys have a good punter. I think you're like, we'll see what Greg Joseph ends up being, right, over the course of the year. But I think Gillen's a good punter. I think, again, all this other stuff is so irrelevant. I think a lot of this stuff is actually good. A lot of this is good. Like, your defensive line is good. Dexter Lawrence is, I mean, outside of Chris Jones, like, he's got the title. to be the best defensive tackle in the league. You know, I think Burns. I thought had a really good game today, man. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Burns had a really good game today. I thought Kayvon had a good game today. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like Kayvon has lived up to the billing he had coming into the league.
Burns was about like a half second away on multiple occasions from getting home, and it just happens sometimes, man. Like Dak Prescott, excuse me.
Dak's good at avoiding sacks. He's always been good at that.
For as much shit as he gets, and as much of a meme as he might be sometimes because he got jumped back in college, he manipulates the pocket so well, and his internal clock is fucking fantastic. So,
yeah. So like, I mean, I think there's like a lot of good stuff here for the Giants, but the margins are a 3-point loss to the Commanders and a 5-point loss tonight to the Cowboys, and it's like, I mean, I don't know how much of that is really about others. Like, yeah, you can sit here, like, again, we can sit here and talk about everything else in the fucking world, but if you have a decent quarterback, do those margins flip? I feel like they probably do. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know that Daniel Jones is doing anything that anybody else couldn't do. Like, really,
so
like, I just don't.
My barometer for like how bad is this guy really was I was like listing quarterbacks in my head throughout this live stream, and I would just say that like Andy Dalton. Do I think we win today if we had Andy Dalton? Do I think
Probably.
we win today if we have Derek Carr? Yes. Do I think we win today if we have who's Sam Howell, the backup on Seattle?
No.
No.
I mean, I don't know. You don't know. You don't know.
We don't know. I agree that it's you don't know. That's also the problem.
But also, Sam Howell was pretty, like, he was, turnover prone insanity last year. So who knows?
Do we? So who else was I talking about?
All right,
Gardner.
I'm pulling up the starters right now. Bo Nix. No, you don't
No.
want Bo Nix. Okay, Deshaun Watson, definitely not.
Okay,
Anthony Richardson.
I think we win if we have Deshaun Watson.
I don't think you do. He's so bad right now, man. He's terrible. He's not been good against anybody. He was terrible against this. He was worse against this defense than Daniel Jones was. He threw a pick six. He's terrible.
Wait.
Anthony Richardson.
Win.
Skylar Thompson.
Okay, next.
I'm only all right. I got one. This is a fun one. This is one that's near and dear to my heart and my favorite coach's heart.
Oh god.
Trevor Lawrence.
Win.
Okay. All right, Malik Willis. How about that?
Oh man. Loss. But
Justin Fields.
I'm not confident in that. Win.
And Will Levis.
Win.
Darnold.
Win.
I mean, it's like there's enough stuff that's ambiguous there where you're like, like it just kind of drives home the point, right? This guy's like a bottom 10 starter. Minimum.
With Levis, I was like, in my head when he first did it, I was like, probably not because he'll have 2 turnovers, and then I was like, this team needs some fuck it from the quarterback position. Yes, the Trevor and he still blows. Yeah.
No, the thing with Levis is like just he's like a few dumbass plays away from just being average. He just can't not avoid those plays. Either way, but I think when it just like look, this is the painful thing for Giants fans. It's like you're living Groundhog Day again, where it's like, yeah, we can talk about everything else, but we always knew this coming into the year. The guy was not a good enough quarterback, and now we're reliving it again. I don't know what to say with that.
Which is why I made my fucking tag thing under my name. Definition of insanity is what? Doing the same shit over and over again. That's what you're doing every day that Daniel Jones starts at quarterback for you.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, there's really nothing else. Like, look, man, dude, there was a period from when fucking the Bills last made the playoffs until they next made the playoffs. I watched Todd Collins. I watched fucking Alex Van Pelt. I watched Drew Bledsoe. I watched so many bum ass quarterbacks. I watched Kylo Ren. I watched so many bums, dude. And you can sit there and you'll be like, oh well, if this defensive tackle made that play, and if this guy did this, and it's like, yeah, you know what covers up all that shit? Good quarterback play.
Quarterbacks.
Good quarterback play. That is like this. This is the one fucking sport. It's the one sport where like you have to you can sit there and talk about everything else, but if your quarterback is continuously either letting you down in terms of making active detrimental plays or not delivering on the winning plays that are fucking available to them, there's nothing else to talk about. Like, there really is nothing else to talk about, because you can get you want to fire the coach? Fine, fire the coach. You want to fire the fucking front office? Fire the front office. They're still dealing with the same fucking problem. Daniel Jones is not going to be a better quarterback because you fire the head coach, you fire the front office. He's still going to be the same shitty quarterback he's been. So none of this stuff matters until you address that situation. And personally, this is just me, I don't think you need to have a superstar quarterback to win in the league, especially not now, not in this league, not in this year's league anyway.
We've seen Patrick Mahomes win 3 Super Bowls, so yeah, I agree.
I didn't say you did. But like, no, like in reality, like you don't. There's okay. Even if you're saying you need to have a superstar to win a championship, fine. But you don't need to have a superstar to be a good team, man. You don't. You really don't. You need a decent quarterback that isn't going to fuck you up and that can be on schedule and that can read defenses and knows what plays to make. That is not like, you're not talking about like elite quarterback play. You're talking about, I know what I can do. I know what to do here. Geno Smith. You think if Geno Smith was on this team, like, you guys would be 3-1 probably right now. You'd be 3-1.
Yeah.
3-1.
Comfortably 3-1.
And like, I don't think Geno Smith is elite. I think Geno Smith is good. I think he's a good quarterback.
Dan Orlovsky said he's top 5. I don't have a comment on that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say it.
Thanks, Shane. I appreciate it. JP Lawson also watched him. Really good quarterback. Awesome.
Speaking of Lawson, Shaq Lawson plays for the Cowboys now, which I didn't know.
Can we should get out of here soon, but can we just talk a little bit about the Cowboys? I was thoroughly unimpressed with them tonight.
They're actually a subpar roster, honestly.
I thought even what was Parsons up to tonight? He was so weird tonight, man. His energy was so weird tonight.
On a day where Parsons is normal, the Cowboys don't like have a counter punch. They don't have a punch on defense, let alone a counter punch when he's normal. So I hope they enjoy their victory against the Giants.
I was just so unimpressed with them. Like, I was like, the Giants are giving you this game and you're not even able to give, like, they could not give the knockout punch at any point in that second half. I was shocked by that, honestly.
With the lack of, I guess, chess pieces on defense, Guyton being bad to start his rookie season, Terrence Steele just kind of being shit, the right tackle over there, and like no dynamic playmakers besides CD still, this team could very well be under 500, and I wouldn't be surprised if they are.
I'm like, if I was a Cowboys fan, I would not be coming out of this win being like, everything is good. I'd be like, we beat that Giants team by 5 points with Daniel Jones playing like fucking a sleeper cell. Like, awesome job. I don't know. They're very, I think their over under start of the season was 10.5. If I had the under, I didn't bet it. I wish I had. I didn't like their roster coming into the season. If I had their under, I'd be feeling really good coming out of this game, because that is probably, I mean, you had 2 home games. You go 0-2 in those. You get a weird gimme against Cleveland, and then you fluke out. Or not even fluke out, but you get like a somewhat generous victory against the Giants for a variety of reasons. I don't know. I was just really unimpressed with them, and even when like Lawrence was on the field with Parsons, like I don't know, something is off with this team. They just don't seem like they got their together.
For a team that had multiple captains challenge each other and their teammates, they didn't bring any fire at all.
Yeah.
Parsons injury update, don't give a fuck, but I haven't seen anything.
I'll check right now.
And Neighbors and Phillips, Neighbors had a concussion, was ruled out at the end of the game. 10 days off between now and Seattle, so I think he will be playing next week.
So Parsons is card off with his shoe off his left foot. I don't know what that means. That's probably not a good sign, though.
DeMarcus Lawrence also had a foot thing, so who knows? Maybe they just have a thing for feet there. But Drew Phillips is going to play next week. I pretty much would bet my life on that. And yeah, I think I'm ready to wrap up. So
I just want to bring out this last stat. Per Next Gen Stats, this is from Robert Mays. Dexter Lawrence has been double teamed on 20 of his 25 pass rush snaps tonight. 80% of snaps. If that holds, it'd be tied for the highest single game mark of the Next Gen era. So yeah, I think Dexter Lawrence is probably pretty good.
I think Dexter Lawrence is not as good as Quinton Williams. Whatever. I have to go to sleep now and wake up early. It's fucking terrible. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for sharing this great night with me and Schwen. Be well.
Peace.